And hello again, Internet. Well, it's that time again, end of the year, and time when people look back over the year, or because of me and how long I take to get to things, I look back about 20 years, and I'd like to see what my favorite games that I managed to play from about 20 years ago are, as well as attempt to highlight a game of the year that I think is a bit lesser known, and I've completely failed on that aspect for several of the years, but I think I have a decent one this year. Because the thing is, for a while, I just wouldn't play new games, so even looking at indie titles, I didn't have many of those. This year I've bought several, and I'll talk about some of them later on. Let's go ahead and kick this one off. I'm choosing this one because they added quest mode recently, and I've actually been saving quest mode. I haven't played it yet. So you'll excuse me if, while I discuss my top 10 list, I have to pause now and then to figure out what the hell I'm doing in the game. But yes, my top 10 PC games of 2005. Now, we've entered a bad era here. Let's see. Fight, okay, yeah. Solo versus solo. That's pretty good. Those are fun. Yeah, 2005, we've entered a bad year, unfortunately. Now, this is a year that was the first year that I actually went to GDC and E3, which those were great experiences. The problem comes in that it kind of ended up being a bad thing overall for me. It led to a bit of a disaster, even as nice as those experiences were. But beyond that, as far as gaming goes, and this is a trend that had already been happening, we're basically in the heart of the corporate slop era at this point. This is when gaming as a whole was kind of pulling back and homogenizing a bit. The corporations that were publishing the games were starting to focus test more, and games were becoming very samey. All of the nice sharp edges that made games unique and fun to play were getting sanded down, and we were getting left with these generic mishmash mealy-mouth games where the innovation was just dead. And it's really before the era where indie games could really take off. It was starting to, but we weren't there yet. Indie games had not started taking off yet. Empty plot there. Well, those two aren't going to be empty for long. That'll come in a couple more years, thanks to something that actually comes out, I think, this year. Or the year, I think it came out the year after, actually. But yeah, we were just in an era where video gaming as a whole didn't really seem all that great. I hate to say it. And some of my choices on this list are going to be controversial. I mean, hell, the first game on my list, number 10, is one you guys saw me stream. And it is a game that I consider to have the largest dichotomy of any game I've played. It is simultaneously, the highs are very high, and the lows are abysmally low. There are some levels that are literally inexcusably bad, and some parts of the games, they're just unabashedly fun to play. Serious Sam 2. Now, this is a game where Crow Team, again, they got more money, so they decided to do things more akin to what other companies were doing instead of doing their own thing with the Serious engine like they did in Serious Sam 1, where they had built an engine that honestly was very impressive for the time, considering that 3D games at the time could only handle so many entities on screen. And here came Serious Sam with these giant 45-minute levels with just hordes of enemies on screen at once. It was calling back to the old days of what gaming could do. Oh, let's get that. Let's try that one out. You know, of Doom and such, where it was just you versus swarms of enemies. Serious Sam 2 didn't have that. Not to the same degree, anyway. There were some, but at this point, engines were getting better, hardware was getting better, and it could handle 3D better. But they went in a different direction with this one and had the cinematics before and after every level with the humor. Very hit or miss, mostly miss. And like I said, some of the levels in the game, some of the design choices in the game are abysmal. There are some levels in that should go down as a template of what never to do. But then there are areas that are just a lot of fun to play. So I can't completely hate on Serious Sam 2. It's why it's number 10 on my list. But you can see we have to scrape pretty hard at the barrel just to find 10 games even worth playing. Which is why we get to number 9 and we get a game that I have played. I played a fair bit of it, but not as much as many other players did. I don't even think I unlocked all of the special stuff in this. And it is a game that I will see at some point on stream. Battlefield 2. Now again, we're getting into the corporate area here. Battlefield 2 actually, I think, was a step up over Battlefield 1942. It did take things to the more modern era and allowed for some very entertaining interactions that you could do. For example, you could... Is that full yet? No, it's not. Okay. For example, you could take 2 tanks with engineers in them and drive them side by side, because the units in the tanks inside a vehicle would have an area effect of their effect around them. So if you put an engineer inside a vehicle and drove it next to another vehicle that had another engineer inside it, they were constantly healing each other. And that was kind of fun to run with a friend, and you both grab engineers and you both grab a tank and just start tearing stuff up. And honestly, that's about the best memory I have of that game, is doing that. I mean, modern shooters weren't completely tired and worn out at this point, and it was fun and smooth to play. So I can't hate on Battlefield 2 that much, although I still personally prefer single-player games, and that doesn't really have all that much in the way of single-player. You know, it's kind of like Battlefield 1, or 1942, where the single-player is just, you go against the thing, one of the game maps with bots, and the bots just weren't very good yet. They really weren't. At any rate, yeah, Battlefield 2. I will stream that. Hopefully, I plan to anyway at some point. I still want to check out 1942's expansion packs, because I never really messed with those. At any rate, number 8. This is another game that I streamed quite a while ago, in fact. And I still do think it is a good game for what it is. There are much better versions out there. Fate. And if you don't know what Fate is, it's kind of a Diablo-like game. A precursor to Torchlight. In fact, if you're going to play a game like this, I would highly suggest playing Torchlight. Fate's made by the same person, so there's a lot of shared design in there. And Torchlight is a much more refined version, although Torchlight 2 is even more so. That's really the one to play if you're going to play one. Torchlight just feels like a better version of Fate, but Fate itself is not bad for what it is, for being of that early Diablo style with its own features. It had the fishing, it had the pets, and it was all 3D, whereas even Diablo 2 was still sprite-based, which did limit the amount of things that could be on screen at once, and made it so it didn't look all that great, but the game worked. I enjoyed playing it, and I still do plan on doing more of the sequels. Just haven't gotten around to those yet. Mostly because that genre is kind of hard to stream, takes forever. But yeah, Fate. It's not a bad game. Honestly, if you do like it, if you've ever played Torchlight. In fact, I do recommend playing Torchlight. If you do play Torchlight and enjoy it, go back and get the Fate series. They're just earlier versions of that game. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Alright, number 7. And this one we're going to start getting into a theme, which we'll talk about in a bit. Number 7 is a game I have not beaten. And I tried twice. I got stalled out at the same place both times. But what I played, I did enjoy until I got bored of it. Because I think the game went too long in that area in particular. It's pretty bad. And that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. Yeah, Mandalore. Mandalore stalled me out twice in that game. I don't know what it is about Mandalore that just drags the game down for me. And maybe it's just gone on too long at that point. Or maybe there's just something about Mandalore that isn't that fun. But this is another one of the... Oh, what do they call that? The Infinity Engine? It's the RPG engine that was it BioWare, I believe, or was it Black Isle? One of those two. I never remember which one is which because they were both doing things at around the same time. Yeah, fail. I don't care. Both doing the stuff around the same time. And words are failing me. Give me a moment for my brain to reset. And one of them was doing the stuff like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights. This is using the same basic engine as Neverwinter Nights, only set, it had to change the rule set. It's not doing D&D stuff, and is a much more obviously different theme, this being Star Wars. The first KOTOR was a lot of fun, especially playing with the lightsabers, and it still is in this. There are good characters, there's good writing. I just stalled out on it twice, which is why it's not higher on the list. I just couldn't push to finish it. And I'm not sure I could even try it again, because I don't know, that engine just kind of doesn't do it for me anymore. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it just feels like it takes too long to get anything done in it. Which is like a terrible thing to think about in an RPG. But I'm just kind of more into smaller experiences anymore, like this, rather than the longer scale ones. I'd rather play Final Fantasy 1 again, which I've been doing. Still, it is a good game, one I recommend. And yeah, I'm going through my list a little more quickly than I usually do this time, because I don't have a whole lot to say about these games. Because that's just the nature of the games in this era. There's not a lot to say about a lot of them. Like stuff like KOTOR 2, Battlefield 2. We have the sequels. They're definitely more polished than the original ones were. That's not the problem at all. But they didn't feel anything really, truly epic or unique in them. Especially being sequels. I mean, Serious Sam 2 was the one that set itself further apart from the rest. And I'm not sure that was a good thing. The only unique one on the list so far has been Fate. And in fact, the next one is yet another sequel. Because number 6 on my list is Quake 4. Another one that I streamed. So you kind of know my opinions on this one already. It's Raven Software was very good at taking words. Ooh, let's do it and do that. Oh, cool. Well, I can put you down here then. Raven Software was very good at taking id Software's engines and tends to make better games out of them. The exception being that for Doom, I do think Heretic was better than Doom. But I like Hexen. I know a lot of people kind of don't like Hexen because of the way the puzzles and all worked. I was totally into that. I loved Hexen. I think Hexen 2 is a far better game than Quake, but that's because I don't like Quake. Quake 2 is pretty solid, though. I haven't played some of the other Raven games. You've seen me play as what I can. And this was them continuing the story of Quake 2, which was the better of the Quake stories. And using the Doom 3 engine, which was a good engine. Even if Doom 3 itself was kind of... It started off way too slow was the problem with that one. For a Quake game, I mean, it worked. And of course, Quake 4 has one of the more memorable scenes in gaming history, where your character is strongified. Now, but the game, you know, you saw me play through it. I had a good time with it, but not the best time. It's not a game that I'm going to go back to and like, oh man, I gotta play this again right now. It just isn't one of those, unfortunately. It's one that I didn't have a problem replaying, and in the future I might consider replaying it again, just not really anytime soon. More goats? Or more paladins? Let's do more paladins. We like paladins. Since I got the free farm there. Yeah, yeah, it's not a game I'm going to go back and replay, which is the truth of many of the games. Now, I did like the fact that with the version of Quake 4 that I bought, and this got to me when I found this out, and I knew this at the time, because, you know, I mean, I love playing, like, even the expansion packs and such, and my version of Quake 4 came with Quake 2 and its expansion packs. Now, I must have known that when I bought it, but then immediately forgot about it and never played them until I got the Steam versions and streamed those. It wasn't until later I looked back and went, wait a minute. I owned these? On disc? Because, you know, I was going through the extra stuff on the various discs a while back. You should do that. You really should do that. You should go and look at your discs and what extra things are on them. Because some games back then included their prequels. The original copy of Duke Nukem 3D, not the Atomic Edition, but Duke Nukem 3D has 1 and 2 on it. Now, of course, I was about to say those games are easy to get now, except that they're not because Randy Pitchford is a dick. Anyway, yeah, Quake 4, that was fun. Number 5, and at least now we're getting back to stuff that is more unique. Finally a new one. Quake 5? Guild Wars. Now, again, I prefer single-player experiences over multiplayer stuff, and Guild Wars is very clearly an MMO. Kind of. You could get a party and, you know, of NPCs. At first, you could only hire some in this base game. There were some in towns you could hire, and I think you could only ever hire like 3. So you'd only ever be able to have half a party out there on your own as you solo. Later on, with the expansions, you could actually get NPCs that you could train skills on and give gear to and actually make them be worth having. Was that Guild Wars: The Survivor? Now I'm confused. The one thing... Yeah, oh, that's what I'm saying. The one thing I really like about Guild Wars... It was no subscription fee. Once you bought the game, you just had the game. It's all yours. That was the thing that really attracted me to it. And an interesting note, when I first started streaming, the headset I used was from the Guild Wars Collector's Edition. I personally think it had a great microphone. Speakers sucked, but the microphone was fantastic for what I was using it for. So my very earliest videos, that's the microphone I'm using, is that game's. Let's see. Hello there, Minnie. Let's see what I want here. Nothing on this one. I like you guys, but not enough to actually use. I'm doing alright, doing my year-end stream at the moment. Oh, what is that? Is that a yeah, I'll just leave it. Remake of the original game? Did they update the original game then? I'm going through my top 10 games of 2020 or 2005. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Because unfortunately for me, most of my memories of Guild Wars come from the first expansion. That was the one that I played the most. It's going so far all right. And as you see, I'm also checking out Nine Kings here. Yeah, my memories of Guild Wars mostly do come from the first expansion. That is what I'd played the most. Goats. I don't think I ever even beat the base game. Yet again, another game I didn't finish because 2005 sucked. I did like with that game, though, that you could have not just your main character, you know, whatever your base class was, but you could also have the subclass to it. And you could pretty much mix and match your skills between them. You'd have kind of your stats from your main character, your main build, and skills and all from your secondary class. And, I mean, you can have one epic skill from either side, and then the rest from either side. So you could actually, I think you might have needed one from each side, or maybe even not that. I know you did not need anything from your secondary class if you didn't really want it. You could just be full solo class. I don't know if you needed to have something from your main one or not. Do I play any other games? Yeah. If you look down, there's a list of the games I've played over the last about 10 years. For the stream. Oh yeah, I've been doing this for a while. Do I want to keep the imps? Not really. Definitely don't want that right now. No. Guild Wars. Great. Still going through my top 10 list here. Oh, those are some good games there. Some of them, anyway. I haven't played, like, the new God of War or anything, and as far as Counter-Strike goes, I will play the original any day. Maybe Source. But, like, none of the newer ones, I don't just... They took too much stuff away from you in those games. They're not worth playing. Oh, let's see. Probably... Don't need that. Yep. Ditch you. And I hear that, definitely. Because, like, Guild Wars, I really loved... I made some interesting creations in Guild Wars. My favorite is one that I never saw anywhere else. A lot of people do the game of the month, or, you know, build of the month thing. Someone comes up with a powerful build, and everyone rushes, and they all have to use that. Well, I did ones... No, you cannot. I have plenty already. I'm sorry. My stream is 10 years old. I already am set in what I do. Oh, you can tell me, but it's probably not going to happen. Because right now, what it sounds like is you're one of these, and I hate to say this if you're not, but you're coming in here like this. It sounds like you're one of these bots who's coming in, oh, I have great ideas for this and that, and, you know, if you join my stream, if you join this, which is never going to happen with me. And if I sound a little bit curt on that and defensive, I've been dealing with that for a while. So I do apologize if that's not the case. Genuinely apologize if that's not the case. And it's not just been happening here on stream. I've been having some people doing stuff like that elsewhere to me. Which Xanth doesn't know about, but yeah, it's been an issue. I mean, you know, yeah, not... And it's like... Yeah. That didn't need to be completely erased like that, but I did see the message. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things I was expecting. Yeah, my stream, I play the games that I never got around to playing before, for the most part. Yeah, I didn't have time to do anything with it. Automod just grabbed it. I did read it, though. But yeah, I'm not doing this to get famous. I've been doing it for 10 years. Believe me, if I was going to do it to get famous, I would not still be doing it with the viewer count that I have right now. I do this as an excuse to play the games that I never got a chance to finish. Or to just show off some games to what few people manage to find it. That might have been a good choice. That might not have been a good choice. Let's put it there. That was a good choice. And I do believe, unfortunately, with that, he is gone. Which, you know, I'm not surprised there. That happens. For the record, the message he sent was, "I'm a professional graphics designer." Yeah, no. So at least I know that my instincts weren't too far off. But anyway, Guild Wars. Yes, Guild Wars. I was talking about Guild Wars, and this build that I had, never saw anybody else use it. In fact, I only ever saw, and it's entirely possible that I missed other people finally doing this. So did I. I had, my main character was the warrior class. I don't know if it was warrior paladin or wherever it was. But I subbed necromancer to it. And not for, like, summons or anything like that. And I know there was one build that used one skill, and what it did is it balanced your hit points and the enemy's hit points. Well, here's the thing. Blood magic on the necromancers had a whole bunch, I mean, just an amazing amount of self-healing. Kind of. What it did is you'd have one skill that would cut your life in half, but then give you like 4 or 5 pips of regen. There were other skills that you would tag an enemy and it would just drain life off of them. So I had a blood tank, and it was glorious to play this character. Especially love scaring the crap out of healers, because they would see my hit points just drop. And, you know, I seem to not have noticed. They'll be like, oh my god, this guy's an idiot, he's getting himself killed. Why is he suddenly healing a whole bunch? I haven't cast anything on him yet. He's not even close to dying. And what I'm asking, like, okay, what was that? It's like, yeah, I'm a blood tank. That's my ability that gives me a bunch of regen at the cost of some life up front. Don't worry. Don't worry about me unless I drop to about a quarter or so. I'm usually fine. Which is good for the healer, because then the healer focused on everyone else, and I don't think he healed me for the rest of that round. Because he didn't need to. Blood tanks were amazing. It's a shame that most people just didn't use them. Wild card for each empty plot. That would be useful, except not... Overwork. That's a fun one. And you could do things like that with... This is one of the things I really liked about Guild Wars compared to a lot of the other games. Because it also had a PvP thing. It was designed for the arena thing. It was designed to not be overpowered. You had 8 skills you could have on at once. 1 epic, 7 normal. You also can only reach a certain level where you definitely could not max everything out. So the game was designed so that you had to try to find the best of limited combinations available. I can't do that, can I? No, I can't because I don't have my other stuff up. Well, bye, Ogre. So you had to try to find a way, and it ended up being fairly balanced because of that. Because you couldn't just have one thing that was so epically overpowered that you could defeat everything else. It became a bit of a rock, paper, scissors type game. And I honestly kind of wish for more things like that, where you had to pay more attention to your balance than to just go nuts on whatever. You know what? Let's go. Ooh. Oh. Sure. I like that one. Alrighty. Yeah, so that's that one. And now on to the next one. Finally, I mean, I am sorry for that distraction there. This is just a thing that happens to all streamers. And I mean, coming in and asking those type of questions of, do you stream other games? Tells me that you're not looking at stuff. Especially since, as I say, for those on YouTube, you may not, you don't have a list there of what games I play. However, if you ever click my profile and go to playlists, yeah, you will see the list, how many games I have there. On Twitch, if you look down in the chat area there, you have a bunch of info panels. Now, I don't know if this works on the phone version, which is kind of silly, but I actually list off each of the games that I've played each year. And the list has been growing and 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 growing. So that is why my paranoia got triggered on that one. So, can I get back to my top 10 now, finally? I mean, it's only been half an hour, and I did get through about half the list. So I'm on par for myself, just had that bit of distraction going. Also, I think I might want to turn the volume on this down a little bit. It's a bit loud for me. I hope it's not too loud for you guys. But, number 4! We're finally at number 4. Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is another one you guys saw me stream, and this is another one that is like Battlefield 1942 in that it is... Yay, completed a quest. Next quest. That was fun. I like these. It was like Battlefield 1942, where the single player is kind of going through the multiplayer modes with bots. But the maps are just so good in Battlefield 2. As opposed to just, oh, go capture the base, go capture the base. You are playing out some of the scenes from the movies. You got the Battle of Hoth and things like that. It's just fun. Battlefront. Has that been saying Battlefield 2? I'm sorry. Battlefront 2, yes. Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's just so fun. I mean, who doesn't love classic Star Wars stuff like that? Well, I was also mentioning Battlefield because Battlefront is of the Battlefield style. But yeah, I probably confused the words because I do that a lot. Because I'm an idiot. But yeah, dude, Battlefront 2, there's a reason why they made the remake version of that. And why people didn't like the remake version, because the original is that much better. Which just proves that as bad as games could have been back then, they have not gotten better in the last 20 years. They really haven't. Yay. That makes me worried about this Guild Wars Reforged. At any rate. Yeah, no, like, seriously. Who we got? Ooh, look at this. We got something else. Hunting boars for sport has been our thing for centuries. The king of nature doesn't seem happy about it. So we're surrounded by forest plots. Oh, that's interesting. Fight only against the king of nature. Only get boar cards from the king of nature. Okay. That sounds boring. Yeah. Yeah. God, that is a lot of forest cards. Oh, hello, archers. Oh, see, now this is interesting. Now this is the quest stuff where we're actually having to do a theme. You have the more hit points, so... let's go nuts. Yeah, like, Star Wars Battlefront, you did see me stream it, and I seriously... it's not perfect, but the levels in it were a lot of fun. The objectives in it are way more fun than most of those other games were. And in fact, it feels good to have the objective stuff like that. Well, that's not any good for me. That, though, could be very useful. Yeah. Well, let's ride boarback. And I mean, I would say if you can get your hands on Battlefront 2, the original version of it, which I believe is still available on Steam, it's usually cheap. It goes on sale a lot. Definitely want to check out. I love that game. Unfortunately, number 3 is not available anywhere. I wish it were. Genuinely wish this one were, but I haven't freaking seen it anywhere. Well, I'm going to put you here. And I wish it, I would love to. I'd love to play this one again. It's one that I played it on PC, I played it on disc, but it was not my copy that I played. I played someone else's copy of it and had some fun doing that. But, you know, had to give that one back. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Now, not the new version you guys are thinking of. I'm talking the original Most Wanted, which was... actually, I'm not even sure it's the original. No, it's not the original Most Wanted. That was 3. No, I'm talking the... Ooh. Let's try that. I'm talking the... sequel to not Underground, Undercover? It's of the era there. No, that's 2005. It's of this era. I think Undercover came first and then Most Wanted, or Underground, somewhere in this era of the games, where it's the open world map, it's more street racing style, where they're really pushing that. Because, you know, Fast and Furious! Make strong pigs. So yeah, Fast and Furious. I think it came out by this point. I'm not sure. Must have, because like I said, there was a bunch of street racing games around this era. I think Juiced 2 is around this era as well. No, that is not on the list because that was awful. And like Most Wanted had a very predictable but fun story mode to it. The racing was good because this is Need for Speed. When Need for Speed actually was a lot of fun to race. Very arcadey, not serious at all, but fun to race. And I wish this one were back. It's with Most Wanted, of course, it was a lot of the police versus the racer stuff, which is just a blast to do. I'll put it here. Especially when you get to play as the police, which I don't know if you could in that one, honestly. Yeah, playing as the police in Need for Speed is the best part of Need for Speed, hands down. I wish I could remember this game more, to be entirely honest, which is why I wish it were still available. I would buy this, even if it was just on Origin. I would have bought this so long ago if it were back. Instead, it's just a new version of Need for Speed. Heck, at this point, it's not even the new version of Need for Speed. It's a remaster of the new version of Most Wanted, which is a good game, but it's nowhere near the same game. It doesn't have the story mode like this thing. That was its main appeal, really, was the story mode. And now we're up to number 2 already. Woo! Cruising on the list this year. And number 2, now this is one that some people might question. But yes, this was a PC game. It came out on PC basically almost around the same time as it hit some of the consoles. And it was on PC where I first played it. Lego Star Wars. And you may notice that, yes, this is the 3rd Star Wars game on this list. Why is that? That's because this is the same year that Episode 3 came out. The last movie in the prequel trilogy. So Star Wars was riding its absolute high right now. Of course it was. So that's why we get to see that happening. But, Lego Star Wars, absolutely phenomenal game. And you wouldn't think it to be. You think, you know, like, oh, who would want to play a Lego game? Well, to be honest, if you've ever played a Lego game, even before Lego Star Wars, the Lego games were just amusing little, usually platformers. It could be other things. They may not have ever been the greatest games ever made, but they were always fun and amusing for the kids. But adding the IP here, adding Star Wars to it, let them take this game to a whole new set of heights. What did I do exactly? Oh, cool. Doubled the HP, because, you know, that totally needed that. Yeah, in the Lego, adding Star Wars to Lego really managed to elevate the game, because it let them do a lot of humor stuff, which the Lego was really good at. And this is the one that I think pretty much changed how the Lego games were done, because with this one you had the platformer, which is with the various characters, and you unlock the character. Now, if you've played any Lego game in the last 20 years, you know this, but it started here, where you have the various characters, and each character has its own abilities that will interact differently with various parts of the environment. And, you know, you start with the couple from the first level, however those were, and you can unlock more as you play, You can buy some, you can unlock ones to buy. You even do eventually get cheat menu stuff, so you can do more than just... So you can have more fun with it, but those are generally pretty expensive. Fortunately, some of the cheats are getting more currency faster. And while the first Lego Star Wars was a little rough in some fronts, honestly, I think it's better than a lot of the Lego games today still. They did a damn good job with integrating the IP with the game. The co-op, and that's another very important part. It is a co-op platformer. Doesn't matter how, you don't have a life counter. So you can just keep playing. If you die, you lose a bit of money, you keep going. And if you lose all the money, it doesn't matter. You keep going. Now let's try this and see what we can get. Nope. No, don't. That would actually be interesting. That would be interesting. Let's see what else we got here. No. Can I get one more attempt? Well, crap. Well, let's turn them all into frogs. Turn some of them into frogs anyway. But yeah, it had really good humor, and they didn't use any dialogue. No dialogue. It was all visual humor. But it was the implementation of those characters and the way they interacted. You play through a story mode with a set number of characters. There are hidden items inside every level. And you need various character abilities to get these hidden items. You have the 10 items to build a mini-kit figurine, which they fucking ruined in later games, but it was really well done here. You have the red brick, which is what the cheats are, but you have to purchase those. So you have to find the cheat, then you have to purchase them, which is a great way of doing it. Especially in a single-player game, or in this case, a co-op game. And that co-op aspect, where you don't actually have lives, you just keep going if you die. And being co-op was great to play with a kid. So if you're a parent who wants to play a video game with your kid, this was a great way to do it. Because you could let them play as a second-player controller. They would, follow you around, do what they can. There are some areas where you have to have them stand somewhere where you can do something, and vice versa. And I don't know if you could switch characters if you were playing co-op like that, but in single player, you could switch characters between the two of them and have them either follow you around or stand there if they needed to stand there. So they knocked this game out of the park for making just a nice, family-friendly game. I am not even sure where I would want to put one of these right now. Because, what am I going to do with all the pigs? I'll also put it here and just put pigs here. That'll do anything for me. Yeah, they really knocked it out of the park design-wise on LEGO Star Wars. Ton to do. It took a long time to 100%, and if you do 100% it, you get another bonus area as well. Which is just kind of going through this area, wrecking everything. It's great. That's the thing, too. The destruction aspect, being the Legos. Everything breaks and falls apart. It's highly amusing for the kids. You mean just sit there and hold the button down? Eh. A lot of time I don't have to. A lot of times I'm kind of more focused on talking than looking at the game. Sometimes I'm not even looking at the game. Wait, you can do that? Because I didn't know that was there. Literally, I had no idea that was a thing. Okay. Remember, I'm blind and an idiot. How long have you known me? Alright, dang. You know what? I am going to go ahead and put a farm right here. There, I'll do that. That's great. That's perfect. That makes things a lot easier for me. Yeah, I beat King difficulty with every King without that. There are ways to do it. Seriously, the LEGO games go on sale a lot. LEGO Star Wars 3 is my favorite of them. Lord of the Rings also really good. You can skip Indiana Jones 2. You can skip Pirates of the Caribbean. They're not all classics. But LEGO Star Wars Complete, you will be busy for a long time with that one. And then LEGO Star Wars 3 is my favorite. So grab those. They're fun. Check them out. Okay, so now we're getting into the honorable mentions. And that's there's going to be some questionable stuff coming up in this. Honorable mention, The Sims 2. Now, this would make my list except for one small problem. I barely played it. I played a bunch of the first Sims. And by the time I got to Sims 2, I was like, yeah, but this isn't The Sims. It was missing features which were eventually kind of added back in the expansion packs. But you have to realize, going from The Sims with all the expansions, and God, was that way too expensive when I did it, because I did it when they were new, as opposed to buying the... And then I later actually did buy the complete edition for someone else, which I have no idea where that is anymore. They didn't like it, unfortunately. But, yeah, going from The Sims with everything to the Sims 2 base, this is a problem a lot of games have. Going backwards sucks. Ooh, temple. Ooh, temple. Going backwards just sucks. Because, and like, games today have that problem. Stuff like, well, one of the big ones recently, the past couple years, was Payday 3. You went from Payday 2, and this is a problem with live service games. And this is something that should have been predicted because, well, you see it right here. These companies decided they wanted forever games. They wanted games that they would just keep updating and adding content to. And that way you had to keep paying them to play it. You keep paying because they give you a little bit more. You keep paying them, you keep paying them. But then they get stuck in a loop of, okay, but it's just the same game. You're not buying a new game. We're not making a sequel. We're still doing the same game over and over and over again. People are going to start getting bored of it. And so we need to make a new game. They make the new game and people don't play it. Because if they wanted to play that style of game, they've already got their game, their favorite, back here. This is the one that they really like. And there's a ton of content in it. And they've already paid for it. So why would they buy a new one? And that has been a source of frustration in many companies. Because they spent all this time and money. They wanted to make a forever game. And they did. And now the players are expecting a forever game. And the companies are going, oh, we didn't want that. No, we just wanted you to keep paying us. We didn't want to keep making the game. So yeah, The Sims 2. And I didn't buy any of the expansions for it initially. I have all the expansions for it. Because back when Origin was new, one of the things you could do is, especially if you had just base Sims 2, you could get the complete edition of Sims 2 on Origin. So I do have it with all the expansions. Still haven't played it, which is why it's... Because one of the things I want to do, I really want to play Sims 1 with each expansion, going through each one. So you do just the base game, then the first expansion. There's no way to do that. It's an all or nothing with Sims 1, and I don't want that. I want to really experience it, at least on modern systems. I want to really experience it with each expansion getting bigger and bigger and bigger each time so I can showcase those, but I just can't do it. And without that, kind of don't want to play Sims 2 until I redo Sims 1 for everyone. Another honorable mention, and this is going to be a weird one, is the hardware. The PlayStation Portable came out this year. Now, buying the PlayStation Portable at launch sucked because almost everywhere, if you tried to pre-order it, you had to pre-order games with it as well. They wouldn't let you just pre-order the system. So you had to buy bundles. And let's be honest, the launch titles kind of sucked. Of the 4... Yeah, I think it was actually 4 launch titles I had to get. I know I got Tony Hawk Underground 2, which was a lot of fun, the best of them. I got this Brotherhood game, which, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great. I got my first Dynasty Warrior game and found out just how absolutely fucking boring Dynasty Warriors was. And I got Rengoku, which... It's a game that exists. I'd say it's a 5 or a 6, maybe. Not great. Not, oh god, I hate this game, like Dynasty Warriors. But not something that's really worth playing. And unfortunately, early on, the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, just didn't have a lot going for it, especially when you compare it to the DS that was out around the same time, man. Nintendo, being Nintendo, knew how to do handhelds, backwards compatible. You had a whole bunch of games for it right away because of that. They knew what they were doing with it. And the PSP didn't really live up to what they were claiming. You know, they want it to be, oh yeah, it's going to be as powerful as the PS2. It's not. And really have the problem. And it's even missing buttons, for crying out loud. Stop doing that. Stop making a system that's effectively, a handheld system that is effectively as powerful or more powerful than a specific non-handheld system of the past or of the current, and then leave fucking buttons off of it. Nintendo! Game Boy Advance! Why is there no X and Y? Anyway. PSP had those. So for a while, the PSP was kinda lackluster, but as time went on, it really did take off. There was a lot of good games for it. For example, I'm a big fan of Valkyria Chronicles 2. And Xanth here, a while back, streamed 3, which was not released in the US, unfortunately. So he had to get a translation and run that one. And I mean, the Valkyria Chronicle games were already... The first one was fantastic. The second one was a different beast, but it was a lot of fun. There were a lot... It was honestly... So many roleplay games came out for that system. It kind of became a haven of that. And there were some interesting titles as well. Now, they failed miserably with the whole UMD idea. The Universal Media Disc. Yeah, there were movies released for it. I even have some of the movies. Interestingly, they're not quite DVD quality. Now, if you hook a PSP up to your television through the component cable, which I have, the movies look like crap. However, what I've also done for some is I've ripped my movies to an ISO image file, you know, the discs, and it is a lengthy process to try to get the movies off of that. But if you do that, they actually come out in pretty decent quality. Surprisingly. But yeah, like the UMDs, having the UMD was not good for the system because trying to spin a disc on a handheld just devoured battery time. But you could also download stuff from the store, and that's where it really shined. The best version of Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2, I would say the best version of Final Fantasy 4 and After Years is on the PSP because they're higher def 2D sprites. The 3D version just wasn't as good, and they really altered the gameplay for 4 with the 3D version. But seriously, the PSP, especially later on when it got hacked and you could put custom firmware on it, which is so easy to do now. You don't even need a tool battery anymore. You can get that done almost right away. It's a really good emulation system. Emulators were... I mean, I had emulators back in the day on it even. But they've gotten better since. And while if I'm going to take one of my handheld systems for an emulation system with me, it's going to be my 3DS my new 3DS XL because hell yeah, it's just a better system. And it does Virtual Boy. The PSP is a nice shape for it. It's really good for the Super NES if you can get it to run pretty well. It was a little laggy back then. The PSP really actually did eventually manage to compete, but Nintendo was still Nintendo and they beat it out. Kind of a shame, because I would love to see Sony do something with that again, because they had the connectivity with the PS3 with it as well. They had remote play. It was kind of awesome. It was also kind of shit because the tech wasn't there, but they were trying things. This was when Sony was still engineers. They're not anymore. One more honorable mention. And the reason this is an honorable mention is because it came out on console in 2005, but the PC version came out a couple years later. Oh god, I hope so. Oh my god, I am down for that. I want to see what they do with it. Because I never had the Go or the Vita. I know you had the Vita, and I know you love the Vita. But like I said, the PSP, it did come into its own. And I would love to see what else they can do with this stuff. Where do I want to put it? Here? That'll work. Boars here. Can the boars attack on their own, or they only... Oh, they can attack on their own, right? They don't need riders. Oh, listen. It took it a while, but it did come into its own, and we don't really have much. So yeah, the last honorable mention, the only reason it's an honorable mention is because, like I said, it came out consoles 2005, and not PC till later. And it is a game that I do want to mention and highlight. It's just that I will not be able to mention it a couple years later because this is when it came out. Resident Evil 4. And oh, what a thing that was. Because here was this nice coup where Nintendo managed to get Capcom to put exclusives on their system. And the Resident Evil, of all things. Exclusive to the GameCube, I think. I think that's one of the one that was. It's like Konami with, I believe Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was exclusive to... No, because I have the PS2 version of that, so no. Well, I thought there was one that was exclusive to the GameCube. And now the GameCube was a good system. Like, genuinely, it was the most... Yeah, I knew, yeah, okay, yeah, so that one was. My memory's not that completely shot. It was exclusive. The GameCube was actually the strongest system of its era. Kind of. Kind of. I think the PS2 was just a bit more versatile overall. And of course, having a DVD as opposed to the mini disc GD, where the hell they called that, was so much better for the PS2. Especially as you can just run straight up DVD video. Not just video DVDs, but you can have DVD quality video on your games. So that just blew the GameCube out of the water, unfortunately. That and Nintendo being Nintendo. They always have to do something wrong. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, you guys saw me play the PC version of it. At least the old version of the PC version of it on stream. It's a good game. I actually did enjoy it. More so than I was expecting to be entirely honest. But I won't be able to mention that, so here it is on this list as an honorable mention. So finally, let's talk about what my actual game of the year was. And this is going to be controversial. Because my game of the year, some people are going to go, that's not a game. But it is. It's not an expansion pack. City of Villains is a standalone game. You can play it without ever having touched City of Heroes. It has its own areas independent of City of Heroes. Yes, it connected to City of Heroes, but it was a standalone product. And it was my favorite game of the year. I loved City of Villains. I never bothered City of Heroes. I did eventually get City of Heroes because of how much I played Villains. But Villains is my game. And there's a very fundamental reason for it. Heroes are reactionary. They only can respond to what's going on. Villains are proactionary. You want to go kick down a door and cause some crime? That's what you do. And at least at first, that distinction was in the game. To a degree, I mean, Villains, like I said, the whole kick the door down and just go raid a place. Mechanically, is that actually any different than... especially since it wasn't any door. It was a limited number of doors. Only ones that were active for that time. Is that mechanically any different than This has an alarm going off. I should go in here. Kind of, yeah. I mean, because you had to tell it, yeah, I want to go kick down a door. There's other things beyond that. But at first, there was the difference. And honestly, I like the archetypes of villains better than the heroes. I had my boy Hellhound. He was a brute. He was wonderful. Sacrifice all adjacent troops. Okay. Yoink. I had my brute. He was so powerful that he did stuff that apparently the developers of the game said you can't do. Genuinely. He actually was weakened by using the set stuff that is supposed to be stronger and give you bigger bonuses. Using those made the character weaker than he was standard without him. It really was that disgusting how strong you could make a character in that game if you knew what you were doing. I love the theming of it. I spent... That's one of my, 1,500 hour games. I spent so freaking much time in City of Villains. And unfortunately, I can understand the frustration of the City of Heroes players. Because, they had their game. They got update. They got up to update 5. And update 6 was City of Villains. Hero players got some PvP zones. Yay. And then the next update was bringing the City of Villains content up to level 50 like the heroes were. Because when it came out, it was only 40. So another expansion came out that did almost nothing for the heroes. I lost all sympathy for that, though, when every single expansion that came out after that focused on heroes. Villains was dropped as a game. Oh, no. The villains could participate. Every single thing was the heroes and villains team up to save... I don't want to do that. Some of my characters, specifically, would have sided with the villains against the heroes in those situations. Because, story-wise, some of my characters wanted to wipe out humanity. Why would they care to save humanity when their goal was to destroy it? Oh, but they get killed too. They don't care. Some of my characters, like Hellhound was okay for doing that stuff with, because Hellhound's motivation was he just liked to fight. He didn't care. You pointed him at something, he would beat it up. And sometimes he would work with the heroes. If it's, hey, that thing's something nice and big and strong. You want me to fight it? He had no problem with that. But some of my characters, absolutely not. I hated that. Absolutely fucking detested that. And eventually I had to drop the game because there just was no game anymore. It was all City Heroes. Even though, like I said, City of Villains is its own game. And they ruined it. They ruined it! Especially Villains was so much more fun than Heroes. It really was. So, once again, the recap. Those were my top 10 of 2005. Serious Sam 2. Battlefield 2. Fate. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. Quake 4. Guild Wars. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Lego Star Wars. And City of Villains. Oops, that's not the button I wanted. Alright, so let's now focus on this game here. So here's the game that I wanted to feature this year. Actually, it's not. You see, if I really wanted to do what I want to do, and that is highlight an underrated game that was released this year, the game of choice would have been Nice Day for Fishing. Seriously. That was hands down my indie game of the year, my underknown game of the year. By far. I love that game. It was exactly what I wanted it to be, but I already ran that game for you guys in whole. You want to see that, and you should see that, check out my uploads of that, or go play the game yourself. Much better option. Go play that game. It's amazing. So since I already ran that one, I decided to grab another lesser known one. And while this isn't entirely unknown, this game did get quite a bit of popularity. It is still in early access, but I mean, they're getting pretty close to the end with this. All 9 kings are in it. The quest mode is here. There is some more stuff they're adding still, but even in the state this game is currently in, I would recommend playing it. It really is just a lot of fun. Do I want warpers? I love warpers, but I don't have anywhere to put them. You know what? I'm going to get them anyway. I guess I'm not going to get them. I hit cancel. Right. Okay, then. Farmer. Don't want the farm, or I want the blacksmith? Obviously the blacksmith. Ah, shit. Is Temple already at 3? Yes, it is. Okay, good. So, yeah, I chose this one because, I mean, take a look at it. It's a, it's not exactly a tower defense. I think this is considered an auto battler of sorts. You know, kind of along the lines of Heroes of Might and Magic, things like that. You do build your, it is roguelike. You build your plots based off what cards you get. And just because it has cards, it is not a card game. They could be anything. They just use them as cards for the graphics of it. You build up your armies, you can get buffs with them. For example, every round, one of the units gets increased by 10% for one of its stats 3 times, because it's level 3. These things are pumping everything around them strength. This gives us new units. Also, the early quest stuff here is very easy, so yeah, I'm like not even having to pay attention. You play this on King difficulty or higher, because yeah, there's higher than King difficulty. It is a challenge. It really is. And I did it without auto. Haha! Oh, I wish I'd known about that. Would have made it a lot easier. But yeah, it was a tough call this year. Because there are a couple other games that I would love to have highlighted. But, number one, they were more popular than even this. I do know you can do that, and I honestly kind of don't want to. I just want to let it play out. I might do that later as I'm focusing on the game. I'll probably put it on full speed and just go. But I mean, I've just had this on in the background while I've been talking. There were a couple other games that I wanted to highlight, but number one, they were more popular than this. These games took off and sold millions. And rightfully so. They are worth it. But number two, they're also mostly multiplayer. I say mostly. You can play them single player, but they really are meant to be played with a group of friends who are in the right mindset. That's important for these games. You really do have to be in the right mindset for them. Peak and RV There Yet. They're similar games in that you're trying to get to your destination, trying to deal with the jank physics along the way. Intentionally jank. It is effective for what it is, but it is, you're trying to struggle against the commands and the controls. Of the two games, I would say Peak is a better game overall because it has a different map every day, which does make me worried about what's going to happen when they turn their servers off. Because as of right now, I'm pretty sure the maps come from their server. So I don't know how long that game is going to last. Whereas RV There Yet only had one map. I do believe they've added a second. That's just your map. It's going to be there forever. So I don't know what the future of Peak is going to be. I hope that if they ever do have to shut it down, they let your computer make its own maps. Because if they make this game just inaccessible, then fuck them. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, though. But of the two games, Peak is the better one right now. Okay. Yeah, Peak is a better game right now. It is more complete. The controls work better. It's just fully designed of a game. I don't think it's in early access anymore. Whereas RV There Yet was, honestly, it was made as a game jam by them. They figured they would have a set amount of time to build a level, to build a game, and see what happens. And then they decided to go ahead and release it to the wild. And why the hell is it? Why it has 1 million copies of it sold? Oh my God, what happened? But it deserved to sell that many. It genuinely does. It is just stupid fun. There's good humor in it. And while, yes, the controls are jank, and oh my God, the map is insane in parts. It's a fun challenge. It's really good with friends. I highly recommend both of those games. But because of those games are more multiplayer focused and a lot more popular, I figured the one that I really wanted to showcase is this. 9 Kings. So yeah, as was mentioned, there are 9 Kings. So far, we've only been doing King and Nothing because I'm going through the quest mode. But I'll showcase a bit of the other stuff. I've never played the quest mode, so I don't know what's all in it. So far, I'm impressed with this one, where it limits you. Like, the whole point of it, you're hunting boars. Okay, that's cool. I like that. I like having something that's beyond just, here's the game, go beat it. It's nice having quests and all like this. Makes it more than just your basic roguelike. And it can help you work out different tactics and see what works and what doesn't. Of course, like I say, these quest modes right now are pretty easy, but I'm sure there'll be some difficult ones later on. The latest king that they added, the last king they added, the King of Time, oh, he is a treat. Some of the stuff they added with him. They did not add, though, one of the buildings I could have sworn they would. And that is, like, you see the blacksmith here, how every round it gives plus 2% attack to everything around it. 3 times, as it's 3 levels. I could have sworn they would have one of those for attack speed. Even if it was like 0.1% or 1% increase. I could have sworn the King of Time would do that. Either attack speed or movement speed. Nope, neither one of those. This will give attack speed and movement speed randomly. Randomly. But you don't actually get a building that levels it up every turn. And I believe every king has either 9 or 12 cards. Each one plays differently. Each one has different themes. These abilities over here, like Fireball and Twin Shot, these are specific, as we saw with this one. Abracadabra there is actually the King of Magic, or King of Spells. So even the abilities you get during the conferences are different. And change things up. And this guy might actually win because of those stupid... My guys are standing on the piles where the enemies regen and my guys take damage. Lovely. Yeah, you get different abilities that way, different spells, different focuses. When you play the normal game, you have 2 opposing kings that you go up against. And we'll occasionally get a third one. If you're playing with the King of Time stuff, you can get a lot more than that, actually. Or less. You always have yourself as well. You always have a rebellion. So you always have at least your own king, your own units available. And you have 3 lives, which I don't actually see on this. I don't think we do. Oh yeah, there we are. 1, 2, 3 pips back here. So if the enemies ever hit your main base, one of them reaches your main base, you lose one of those lives back there. You get 3 per. Okay, good. Yeah, we've won this one now. They're not regenning anymore, and we're not taking the insane damage every round from its stuff. Hopefully we win anyway. We've got about the same number of troops. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to see with this game, specifically, a stalemate. Oh god, stalemate. Okay, now because it's a stalemate, everything is taking constant damage, which might be very bad for me. Because you'll notice like 2, 3, 3, 3, and my guys are all taking it as well. So hopefully the rocks, in fact, I'm going to do this and throw some over here. So these guys take even more damage. There we go. Now we'll go back to auto. That should do it. That should help me win. Because ultimately they will take more damage than me. And I've been getting a ton of hit points. I mean, look at this. My guy's strong. But one of the things I want to see, like each, with just, or with a major focus on their own cards, their own abilities, each king can win with at least one strategy. Sometimes only one, but at least one strategy. Yay, we won this one. 3 left, 1 left! We win! Next quest. Ah, it took an hour. Good lord. Alright, so now here you see we've opened up another one of the... That's the King of Spells. So we've reached into this territory here. Really? Way down here? This is the King of Nature way over here? But I just fought King of Nature stuff. This, I think this is Greed. This would be Demons. This would be Stone. King of Nothing. This is the Nomads. This is Spells. Which means this would be Progress. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What am I missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Time. I don't know where time is. Yeah, I have no idea where time is on this map. Anyway. So yeah, well, take a look here. Ooh, extras, huh? Achievements, compendium, credits. Compendium, I should be complete. Yeah, so each king has 9 powers. The King of Nothing here. The best tactic with this one, and I mean this is the easiest one because you have blacksmiths and farms, and these 2 things right here are almost critical to wins. Almost. But this is one of the only ways to really get very powerful very fast. Well, not very fast, but this over the long term can get you just obscenely powerful. But the best way to win this one is you take the Paladin here. Now you'll notice that every time you increase its damage, it also increases the hit points. This increases the adjacent unit's damage. And then, of course, what you do is you take this, you surround it with 3 blacksmiths, so every turn it's getting extra damage and health. And that's important. And then for fun, you put a farm on the other tile around it. So it's just constantly getting more units as well. So you're getting even more powerful paladins. And that alone can take on king difficulty. Wild card here is, of course, very powerful. And there's there's another version that's similar to this, which honestly makes this thing kind of obsolete in one of the other kings. It's one of the only ones I've seen that's like this. At least as far as the spells go. This thing is almost obsoleted by something else. And of course, Steel Coat here is a great enchantment in that it cancels the first hit. So you start stacking this on these guys, even better. Soldiers aren't bad, but they need to get new units. Gee, if only the King of Nothing had a way to get more units. Oh well. And then there's archers. For me, that is literally, and then there's archers. And I mean, you've seen what the castle does. It throws the catapult, which can be lit on fire. And scout towers are just kind of basic towers, as opposed to these, which are units. You can tell by the icon up there. Unit, 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 a buff, a tower, a tome, and an enchantment, and then your base. So then we got the King of Spells here. I really struggled with this one until I found the right combination here. Now, here are the units. We have Shamans, which buff your opponents, and this is what made it so hard to play King difficulty with the King of Spells. Because it means your opponents will always have the King of Spells as well. And your opponents have Shaman that will almost always outscale you. These things are disgusting. They sit there and they'll buff a unit, and especially on your opponent's side, they just keep buffing the same unit over and over and over and over, and it gets just exponentially bullshit. And I've never had them work anywhere near that well for me. You have the Warlocks, which are also interesting. For every tome you use on them, and it has to be tome. I think it has to be tome anyway. They do get more hit points. That's cool. They also deal damage in an AoE around them, so they hit everything around them as opposed to the paladins hitting one thing. But ultimately, they're good with this, but this isn't where the King's of Spells power really lies. The King of Spells power lies in the Wizard. Ranged spellcaster. Damage increases for each enchantment it bears. Now, by itself, that doesn't sound all that strong until you hit the library. Every year has a 50% chance of duplicating an enchantment on one adjacent group. Only one, unfortunately. But if the Wizard is the only unit around it, that means it's constantly pegging the Wizard and trying to get more damage for it. Now, the Wizard is a slow attacker, and it doesn't have a lot of hit points. You can remedy that by if you manage to get a farm near it. Or not a farm, but a forest near it. Or the beacon is the one that... Okay, yeah, the beacon is the one that makes it attack faster. It was the run speed I thought that the time would have. So you want it to be able to attack faster, and this just gives it a bunch of health. Or a bunch of damage. And every spell, like Combustion here, or Static, gives it an extra effect. For Combustion, when it kills something, they explode. Cool. And, you know, that's 20% of the damage that was dealt to it. What happens with your library if this gets pumped up to 18 or 19 stacks? That explosion gets pretty big. Static kind of sucks, honestly. I'm sorry to say. It basically makes it hit another thing, but for a whopping 9 damage. Later on, that is so insignificant. Even if you sit there and boost it, it's just kind of insignificant. Spires heal the closest. It's a healing tower. Love it. And then the Offering. Offering is great for just... If you want... Sometimes you need to open up an area. Or you can drop an item, a character you don't care about somewhere, and then hit it with an Offering to get 3 random tome cards. Those are great. Very powerful stuff. Especially getting 3 of them. It's a good trade. King of Greed. This is actually kind of one of the easier ones. Kind of. Now, mercenaries will kind of look impressive, especially when we start adding some of the extra abilities to them. Going to open up another energy drink here. This time it is C4 Cherry Popsicle. Never tried this one. But this one, it seems kind of impressive because of the... You get 1 unit for every 15 gold. The problem is you only ever have 1 unit for every 15 gold. You spend your gold, you lose units. You put a farm next to it, it does nothing. You use one of the spells that increase it, it does nothing. This is kind of a trap. I've never seen this to be any good. Now, the King of Greed. Wow, that's pretty strong flavor. Not sure how cherry that is, really. The King of Greed does get a lot of gold thanks to having the Vault, which gives it plus 3 gold every turn, or 6 or 9, depending on what level it is. Or if you want to get rid of something, you can destroy a plot and get 30 gold for each level. And you have the Midas Touch, where when it kills something, it has a chance of getting gold. Now, the reason that that chance seems kind of low, later on there's a lot of enemies, so you still get a lot of gold off of this, especially when you start stacking multiple instances of it. So you do get a lot of gold, but I've never had this be that powerful. Thieves are a good distraction early on, because they'll jump at the enemy from behind and take on the units in the back. So stuff like the archers that are hiding in the back, or warpers, or things like that, they'll come down and hit those. But they also do tend to fall off. Now, the beacon is one of the most powerful things in the game as far as I'm concerned. Because attack speed, hell yeah. The faster something attacks, more damage it's going to do. There is a limit, of course. So by the time you have all the units around a beacon maxed out, get rid of the beacon and put something else in it, like the blacksmith. But this is where the King of Greed really shines, especially when you add a bunch of vaults. Remember what I said about attack speed being that important? This thing will just lay waste to an area. And believe me, you can get the gold up very fast with a lot of vaults. This thing can be up to full speed in pretty quickly. I'm not going to say like it's, just a few rounds. No, it takes a while. But comparatively, this one can get up to speed very fast. And this is where a lot of your damage is going to come. Now, there is an upper limit. And later on, these things they're not, even if they're one-shotting the enemy, they're just not going to be able to kill everything in time. Especially since at some point, they're just not going to be able to one-shot the enemy. There's a limit to the damage as well. But these things are what helped me win the game. They are very strong. I love them. King of Blood might be the easiest one, to be entirely honest. This is the one you do the speed run with, at least the in-game speedrun achievement. Largely because you can do bombers. They just run toward the enemy and explode. You lose the unit, but they tend to do a fair bit of damage. But then you can double it up by putting the bombers next to cemeteries. Bomber died. Here comes a zombie. So what I like to do is put a cemetery out and put 3 bombers around it. Yeah. And then even then, you can carnage so that when the unit dies, it explodes again. Maybe not as impressive with bombers, but it can be fun. This is useful on a lot of other troops, though. One of the other things, though, you've got all these units just running out and dying. For each dead ally, permanently grows stronger in all stats. So the demon altars will get constantly buffed thanks to having the bombers. And then sacrifice, you can destroy a card to power up everything around it. Vampirism is nice for your tank and your tank characters because they just keep getting their health back for each time they hit. Imps are not good, but they're the basic cheap fodder troops, and you can get a lot of them. In fact, your main pagoda there summons imps to the battlefield, and I've never found a use for the Mangler. I just don't even bother with it. I mean, yeah, it's an area turret, but trying to feed it, because it sacrifices like up to 3 units around it every round. It's kind of hard to keep up with. I'd rather have the units most of the time. King of Nature is another good one, but it's one that took me a while to do. For a while, I was trying to focus on I don't know how to pronounce this. Mycelium? Mushrooms, effectively. This is a tower that, as you see, it spits a spore every 9 seconds. And those spores stay for as long as the tower exists. So you'll start with not very many, but as the game goes on, you get more and more spores out there. And the higher level this thing is, the faster it spits them out. I mean, it's still 9 seconds, I think, but it spits out 3 at a time. And each of those spores is what, the next round, it'll start spitting attacks at the enemies. And believe me, you can have a lot of spores out there doing a lot of attacks, especially when you start increasing the speed of the towers. But I don't think this was a thing that was actually powerful enough in the end. I actually don't remember. I think I just had to put elves on boars to win. Because elves always attack the most distant target. And for some of the ones, that's where they hide things that need to die first. And then the boars give it the troops. I honestly don't remember how I won with this. I'll be honest, it was a tough one. Forests, very useful. Gives hit points to all the surrounding plots. And this is the one I say that makes the wild card obsolete. Because this, you put it over a card. Wild card, you drop it on a plot, that plot levels up 1. Clone, you drop it on a plot, you get a card for that plot. That card can be used to level it up 1, or to put that plot on another plot as well. So now you have 2 plots of the thing. It'll still only be level 1, but you can then level that one up itself. This just invalidates the wild card. I don't know why wild card exists when this one does. Kind of a shame. Hey, Shark. This is also incredibly powerful. Just straight up +9 units on anything. And, oh, remember that thing that wanted tomes at the King of Spells? The warlocks, the melee units that get stronger if you put something on them? Well, not only do they get stronger, there's now 9 more of them. It's very nice. I don't see much use for poison. Because late in the game, they have so many hit points that that one tick just doesn't really do much. But yeah, that's the King of Nature. Nomads, for a while, was one I had no freaking idea of. This is actually one that, unfortunately, I did see someone, because I had posted in the forums my strategies that I was using. And, of course, people responded with strategies. Of course they did. That's what the whole point of the forums is. And that's what gave me the strategy for this one. And it is very, very nice. Once you figure this one out. So what you do is you set up a row of empty spaces. Even if it's just 2 spaces next to each other, right? You put one of your units, probably your warlords, it's a good unit to have, in one of the spaces. Maybe even mobs. But you put a mob next to the, you kind of want this as the 2 middle spaces. You put mob on one side. Actually, I don't even have to do that. You put the mob there, and then you put a camp behind the mob. So you have empty space right next to each other, and 2 mobs next to the empty spaces, and 2 camps next to the empty mobs. You then make sure you block off the spaces on either side of the empty spaces, so it's only those 2 spaces. And you use migration. So what happens with this, the mob gains a unit whenever different adjacent card gains 1. Migration moves the target to another plot next to it. That plot just gained a whole bunch of units. Because it didn't have any before. So this starts to get really big. And then, whenever a card is placed on an empty plot, which is what happens when you use migration, all adjacent plots get +2 to all stats. All stats. So that mob gets stronger. And then you do it with raptors instead of your warlords. Because then the mobs are riding raptors. I mean, really. That strategy just was like, boom, blew my mind when I saw it. And, oh, it is strong. I like the Dragon End, but all it does is sweep once, twice if you have the thing for it, and then it's done. So it can do a lot of damage if it's built up. I don't think it's worth it personally. And then you have their units down here. These are tomes. So again, Warlock, just straight up +5 or 5% attack, or 10 hit points or 10% health. And then the spell is Frost, which slows the enemies down, which can be useful. But I don't find much use for this, personally. King of Stone is, on one hand, one of my favorites to use, and on the other hand, one of the most annoying to use. Because of this right here, the Quarry. +2 damage to all towers. You can put this anywhere on the map, and it will pump every tower you have, which is fantastic. It'll pump up the trebuchet, it'll pump up the flame tower, which would be more useful if it went faster, unfortunately. It'll also pump up every tower that the others have, like, oh, the dispenser. Yeah, that is a brutal combo. The problem is, of course, if you play as this one, you have them as enemies. And they have Ballista. And their Ballista gets really strong. I've never seen my Ballista get strong enough to do this, but of course, every time your enemy gets more units and they are stronger. And the Ballista shot pierces. It just hits everything in line. These things will wipe out almost anything at end game. You do not want to fight stone end game, because this will wreck your entire team, except for towers, which don't take damage. It also makes walls obsolete, just completely worthless. Walls I've never found to be that good, because all you're doing is delaying them a little bit. They might be useful early on, but then again, these things pierce and can just one-shot the walls later on, so they're worthless there. Basically, the walls are only good for slowing units down for a short time. They don't do anything on their own. You're counting on your towers to do the damage, and I would rather have a tanky unit out there to do that, like a paladin or something. Or the defender, which we'll see coming up. The cauldron, again, I don't find poison to be that useful. This, though, chef's kiss. Great power right here. Great tome. I need to open this up, and you keep the cards that were on it. You open up the plot, and if the plots next to it were not done, it opens them. It is incredibly powerful. That said, if the unit that was on that plot has been powered up, you've wiped out its power, because all those get reset. When you rebuild, you build them back as base. But still, that is just all kinds of utility. And useful for things like, okay, I need to get rid of the beacon now. Everything's full there. Boom. And now I can move the beacon somewhere else. But this one was really hard to... I think this was the last one I did, simply because of the Ballista. Because they just wipe out units. King of Progress is not one of my favorites, but it has some fun stuff. the executioners here, they just always attack the lowest health units. So if you can keep these guys alive and powered up, which again, your opponents are going to have these also, it can wreck all kinds of stuff. Defenders, they don't do any damage, but they reflect any damage that hits them. Can be useful if you got a lot of hit points on them. But the main star of the show with King of Progress are the rats. No level limit. And anytime an adjacent unit levels up, this levels up as well. Put rats next to rats. Especially if you have a shrine. I can't show you those, unfortunately, because rainbow. But shrine will randomly level up a unit. If everything's already max level, well, the rats don't have a max level. So they get hit every time. And while they are relatively weak when they're low level, with a lot of rats getting levels up every turn, it is a plague. And then you have stuff like this, which is fun. It's one of the building towers. Yeah, it is Zerg Rush Tactics. It's fun. Once this hits 3 levels, once you've leveled it up 3 times, so put 3 combobulators on the same square, it breaks, but it levels every other unit by 1 level. Oh, hey, look, rats don't have a max. These are interesting because it turns enemies into rats that fight for you. It's useful if you have a beacon next to it and can max out its speed. I haven't had as much success, but it's not bad. Overhaul, useful for getting rid of something. I was like, okay, this plot's done. And again, it levels things up. Rats. Reinforce on the rats. Whenever any plot levels up, the enchanted plot gets plus 1% damage. Like I said, put rats next to each other and just constantly level up. Boom, 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 boom. You are getting absurd amounts of damage with this. You will hit max cap. Or can hit max cap. You can hit NAN in this. I've done it. And then this just makes it the first hit always crits. Hey, extra damage. Put a lot of these up. Yeah, rats go bird. They really do. But then my favorite. They added this one most recently, and this really is my favorite of the kings. I also love that, K is backwards, but I guess it is on all of them. The King of Time. And what makes this one so fun is the portal. Because the portal sends you back 3 years. Or 2 years, I guess. You can go further later on. Now, at first glance, it just makes it seem like, oh, okay, I get sent back a couple years, the enemies get a little bit weaker, I have 2 more years worth to build things up. That seems fine. Until you realize that the real power of this is letting you repeat specific event things. For example, when you get free land, probably one of the worst ones you can do, but hey, free land. Or when you have the council, when you pick one of the 3 effects. Now, if you do that, though, you've broken time, and you get a broken time effect. Those can be powerful, too. But that means you can't get the normal effects anymore. You have to get one of the time broken ones. Still nice to have. You can keep looping that. You can, choose a new enemy. If you have one where it's like, hey, you need to declare war against a new enemy. You can just keep declaring war against new enemies. It gets harder and harder each time to get the portals you need, but you can do that. Or, if you get rid of the enemy, you can declare peace with all the other kings. And then it's just you fighting King of Time rebels the whole time. Time Rebellion. Also, if you go back to negative years, there's a bonus that happens. I can show you that. I will lose immediately, but I can show you that. I'll show you a trick to do that real quick. You get the warpers here. I love these guys. I absolutely love these guys. They just summon units out. Units have only half the stats of these guys, and it takes them a long time to summon out at first. I said that the King of Time doesn't have a building that gives you like move speed or attack speed. The building that gives you attack speed is the beacon. That already exists. But this, right here, every second that the game goes on, your unit gets faster. Every second the game gets on, these things start spitting out enemies faster. Those enemies also attack faster. And faster. And faster. And faster. It is disgusting. There is, again, a limit, but you eventually get just infinite swarm. And it is great. I love it. The Orbiter here, these are also a piercing enemy. They'll go through a bunch of stuff. And whenever an adjacent plot gets an enchantment, like Adrenaline, these guys get it also. So, that King of Spells that has the wizard with the libraries around it, put one of these next to it. Woohoo! Then you're doubling it all up. Amplifier, for every buff this thing gets, it spreads it around. I have a problem with this one, honestly. For one thing, you need to have it at level 3 to actually hit 3 around it. And at that point, well, why aren't you just having 3 around your base item anyway? For example, you'd have the 4th one there would be a, say, the blacksmith, right? Okay. So this gets hit with the blacksmith, boom, 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 spreads it out to all the things around it. But you'd have the same effect just putting the blacksmith there instead of the amplifier at that point. You kind of have to change things, although you also can put tomes on this, and that spreads the tomes. That's worthwhile. But I have a hard time really getting a setup that makes these work well. Xanth has done it, though. He loves those. Rewind is great for, especially after you get some rainbow stuff, of going, I want those back. Pitch the rewind and it resets your hand to the last 3 things you used. That's awesome. And then regression is a lot more powerful than it looks. I'll say this right now. Don't use regression on units or towers. Use regression on buildings. Because you get this thing to level 3, and it makes 3 units. Then you regress it once, and then give it another level. It's level 3 again, but now it's pumping out 4 units. It makes the buildings a lot stronger. Especially if you have the one ability that makes them do it extra times, too. Anyway, I said I was going to show something off. Oh, yeah, this game. The combos you can get in this game are amazing. Let me just go ahead and do I want to show off a quick little sample run here. As you can see, I'm not even level 9. I am level 9 with this guy, so I should, in theory, have all of his abilities now. And as you see, yes, I've beaten it on King. I've beaten all of them on King. Which, it is easier right now than it's not as easy as it used to be. When the game first came out, King was really easy. Too easy. So then they made it more challenging. And they made it too challenging. I couldn't beat a lot of them. But they've also turned it down. It's still in early access. It's still being tweaked and worked on. I think right now is actually a really good level. Because I have a tactic that worked with everything. Eventually. I mean, it didn't. It's like not like this one tactic works everywhere. But everything has a tactic. Also, this setup right here. This setup right here. You use this to double this. Alright? So this makes this thing trigger twice. Which makes these things trigger 3 times. This one gives you 2 extra perks, so you get, instead of the 9 perks you would normally get, because here's what it looks like normally. You only get 9 perks normally. So this lets you, boom, double, almost not double, but get 6 more perks to use, which is fantastic. But then this increases the adjacent king perks 3 times. So these things get 4 times the effect. So instead of getting, starting with 1 portal, we start with 4 portals in our hand. And I'm just going to do that, because that's all we need to show all this off. So here we are. This will get you an achievement right away. I've already got the achievement for it, but this will get you an achievement. We are at year 1, and we have 1, 2, 3 portals. Boom. The King of Time is launching its final assault. Yeah, we're on a boss now. I cannot win this doing that. Because, I mean, duh. All I have is this against a boss. Yeah, I lose. Champion of Time. But you see, if you go back far enough, and if you're far enough ahead that you can tackle the boss, and you can get enough portals to go back and do this. Also, yeah, look at the king there. It is a different graphics style for the king. Yeah, your kingdom has perished. But that's how you get that achievement if you just want the achievement right away. If you're really high up in levels and are powerful enough to actually take on the boss, you get sent back to 34 if you win. It's pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and put the perks back on, what I usually use for him. I think... Yeah, this just boosts everything, I think. I could be wrong. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Warpers, summons have more hit points. I love summons. All plots start with more speed. Orbiters. Hourglass attacks faster. Your first troop starts with 4 adrenaline stacks. Yeah, no, let's just do the... let's just do the warpers. Alright, and then my usual stuff of... Get an extra plot... Get an extra royal decree option. There should be one that makes the rainbows appear more often. If this is your only perk, start the war against the Jack of Rainbows. Now, this has to be your only perk, so you can't put anything else on, which is a shame. I've never done this. Maybe we should try it. Except my time's almost out today. Where's the rainbow thing? There it is. Rainbow cards are more likely to appear. Your base can level up 5 times. That can be very handy. I don't like the blessing, so I don't use this one. Blessings are kind of... You only get it once, although with the King of Time, you can repeat it. You can loop it. But I've never found it to be too effective, honestly. All troops deal more damage and have more attack speed. That's important. And have more hit points. Your towers do more damage, and I guess the base does more. You can get the 3 free rerolls. I don't care too much about that. I don't care about the blessings. I don't care to banish one of them. You know, I'd rather have all the kings available. These are the 2 rainbow ones here. Well, the 2, because there's these guys. And none of these are... Well, they are powerful. But I tend to only use the 2 here that I've pumped up for each one. This is kind of my standard setup. Oops. So let's clear the perks out and just boom. All right, let's check this out real quick. So yeah, that was my strategies that I personally use for... Yeah, there he is. There he is. So I got the 2 normal ones, but also he's going to show up more often, I guess. Not particularly good here. Not a great start for me, but I'll take it. I'll use it. God, I wish I'd known about it. And it stays on. That's so good. I want the paladins. Put farm there. So here's the rebellion. See, nothing rebellion. You will always have your own kingdom rebellions to put down if you run out of everything else. Yeah, more farms, I guess. See, this is the only blessing you ever get. Doubles HP of the card plot. Here? Damn. Here and here. Well, that's not a bad one there. So if I have something good, I'll put it there at some point. Maybe. Here we are. Playing against the Jack of Rainbows. You don't play against the Kings, you play against the Jacks. So this will let you get more of the rainbow cards. Of which I unfortunately can't show you what they all are, but here's 3 of them. Scapegoat is what I'm going to be putting on that square because fuck yes. It's a passive unit. It sits in the back line. If it dies, you get gold. It does attack. It says it's passive. It doesn't rush out and attack, but it will do damage to things that are attacking it. Haste is also really strong. It just doubles the speed. Actually, triples the speed by the looks of it. And then this levels up a bunch of plots in an X. It only levels up the 4, and it does not level 1 in the middle, but the 4 in the diagonals it levels up. I'm taking Scapegoat. And let's speed things up a bit here. I want paladins right here. You know what? Double the stats for both of them. Let's do that. Boom. Extra stats. I kind of want to put you here, but I kind of don't because I want to save this for the paladin. But it also doesn't matter because we're on easy, so... So I'm going to make a lot of goats, and the goats are going to have a lot of hit points. That's going to be my primary defense, is hit points and goats. Hey, look! King of Jacks again, or Jack of Rainbows again. Nah. You can have that. Let's see if it'll show us some of the other ones that they have. Alright, Shrine. Yes. Well, Gigantify doubles the size, hit damage, and hit points of a target troop. Only those abilities, but yeah, still doubles them. Shrine is the one I'm going to go for here, because it spends 9 gold every turn, but it levels up a plot, and it spends 3 less each level. So 9, 6, 3. If you regress it once, it becomes free. Handy. And Echo Form is one that I've never really seen too much use for. It duplicates a plot right next to it. Yeah. Because I'm usually surrounding things by stuff that boosts them. Oh, look, another shrine right away. Perfect. Let's put the shrine down there twice. Boom. And the shrine will, as you see, the shrine will hit itself. So yeah, I'm telling you, this game is worth getting right now. Carnage! Yes! This is what I want. I want Carnage goats. Now I just need to get a spot next to it and open a library. So we can have the goat bombs. Oh, clone even. Wage war against the War of Greed. More goats. I might get rid of this one and put something else down. A tower here that'll do the damage. Like you, for example. Protect the goats. Ooh, might not have wanted that, but meh, when I put the library down. More carnage. Boom, that just got double hit points. Perfect. Yeah, that was also was the king of time, not just the prince of time there. You are powerful enough. You're gone. Let's get rid of you. I need to clear that somehow. I'm just having fun being silly with this game. Like I said, I recommend this. If you guys hadn't seen it, oh, look, it's pretty fun. Hey, look, another wild card. Ooh, overwork. That means this will now level 2 things up. This will, at the moment, only do... Well, it'll trigger twice. This will trigger 4 times. Wait, you're already full? Oh, shit. Ah, right, because of you. That actually makes you kind of worthless. I don't know. Oh, well, fuck it. Wildcard that, then. See? Level 2 things up. More carnage! And I'll show you, next time I get a carnage card, I will show you something on it. Come on, populate, populate, populate. Dang it. Oh, yeah, there it is, procreate! Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Good, 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 good. Right there. Now, I need to get library, so I need to get the king of spells. Or... I think that's the only thing I care about here, honestly. Procreate. Boom, 9 more goats. See if I can figure... There's 3 more spells that this guy has. I'm going to show you if I can find them for you guys. There it is. Okay, there's 2 of them. That's 3. Okay, I guess he has 12. Because there's more than this. Osmosis. All plots of the same card as the target get plus 10% to all stats. So, rats. This is really good with the rats. Echo Form. That's the duplicate one. I told you I don't really like that one that much. Is Temple the only one I'm missing then? That might be. So maybe it is just the 9. I guess this one is a duplicate. And no, because I know at least 1 more. And when this level triggers level 3, you get a rainbow loot event, which is this. You get one of these. So I don't need this because I've already got these because I'm fighting against them. You will be fighting with the goats! Yes, I'm going to keep boosting the goats. I don't care. All goats all the time. Archer, I guess. I'm going to get rid of you. You know what? No, I don't need that. Fuck it. Oops. Bop, 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 bop. I'm actually probably going to get rid of a lot of stuff here. Ooh. I could cemetery the goats as well. Since I don't have access to the other thing right now. Hey, Gear, how you doing? Yes, gotcha. This is a gotcha game. You never knew this was a gotcha game. Oh, do I actually want to put the Paladins down? Okay, yeah, perfect, perfect. Okay, boom, you see what I mean? Now I got the archers back and opened up some spots here. Gotcha. But it was me! Gotcha game! Yeah, exactly. Okay, so right now, goats. Now I'm going to keep doing that. I'm just going to do towers and goats. Towers and goats and goats and goats. Yep, towers and goats. You kill a goat, I get stronger. You don't kill a goat, you die. More carnage! So there's at least 2 things here that I haven't seen yet. 3. I can think of 3 ones we haven't seen yet. And I'm sure there's another one, because I think Echo Form came up twice. Yeah, here we go. Here's 2 of them. Slime, proliferating troop that multiplies itself to empty adjacent spot every year. I have no idea what the point of this is. It just fills your empty spaces with slimes. It just duplicates itself into the next space. It's not particularly useful, because the slimes aren't particularly good, and I would honestly much rather have almost anything else in the space, like a rat. And there's the Echo Form again. And then Golems. Magic Tanker. Any tome used on it doubles the effect. That is actually kind of strong, honestly. Because this means... Receive 1 wild card. No thanks. I'm looking for overused again. Oh, that could be good, but no. Or that. Come on. No, it's not going to give it to me, is it? You bastard. Oh, well. Increase attack speed of the towers, at least. Like, this can be useful. Doubling the effect. So, like, for example, if you use it with the Nomad King that gives you a bunch of swords and shields, good use for it. I will not be using units this time. This is my only unit. Duh, goat. More carnage! There's still at least 1 more rainbow I haven't seen. There might be 2, because there might be 12. I don't know. Because right now we've seen 10. Oh, there are 2. Duh. Those things, we haven't seen them yet. The 2 that we've been missing have been Ogre. That's one of them. Ogre can be very strong, because every year it increases its stats by 5%, all stats, so attack speed, movement speed even, for every blank, and it has to be blank, it has to be an open one. So for example, if I put it here, it wouldn't get anything, because that's not open, that's not open, that's not a square at all, and that's full of something. So it wouldn't do anything. However, if I get rid of the dispenser and put it there, open, open, open. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold on to the Ogre. And I'm going to try to kill this thing. So I can make peace with someone. I don't care about the King of Greed anymore. And toss the Golem. Don't want it. But I'm going to try to get rid of that. Except that, damn, then I wouldn't get as many... The farm wouldn't be as good with the goats. This is just on Peasant. This is on Easy. So, I mean, I can do almost any tactic I want here and win. Genuinely, I can do almost any tactic I want here and win. Nah, none of these matter. None of these matter at all. Ooh, actually, no. I should have put it next to that. Whoops. Because I keep forgetting that the cemetery actually can get boosted. Oh, well. I can't put anything next to it right now because I don't have a slot next to it. Speak of the devil. Okay, I want to put it here, though, because of this thing. I'm waiting on that. No, leave that. I want to get library there. Getting a library there will just be stupid. See, I'm not even losing a unit because these guys are getting too strong. And procreate. Boom, more goats. So I gotta wait for this and hope that I have enough money at the time. I need some vaults is what I need. I should have kept the King of Greed. I want the King of Nature, though. I love having the King of Nature because of... procreate. Just more goats is good. There's only one left that I remember that I haven't seen, and you guys have seen it. But... Come on. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, shit. I forgot about this guy. Patronage. Level up your base plot by 3 levels. Doesn't do me any good right now. My thing's already plus... Oh, I can't even do +5 on it, right? Because I have that thing anyway, so that's no good. So I guess we osmosis. Power up the goats. But you see, these things down here are getting stronger and stronger. I do want gold back. None of these are any good, so I'm just... Ooh. Yeah, none of these are any good. Double stats at level 1 doesn't do me any good right now. Duh, come on, give me what I want, you bastard! All troops on the field have the same as your strongest. Discard your entire hand, get 1 copy of each of your king's cards. None of these matter at all. None of these matter. I'll just do that, whatever. I was hoping to get another one of these, overwork. You can get 2 overworks. That's why I say I want more... I need more gold. You guys need to kill the goats faster. Yeah, I could put this up, but I don't care. Now, if you saw, their goats did attack my goats. Okay, there we go. That's still not in. Jesus Christ. Raising. Destroy target plot forever. Automatically triggered a Royal Council event. That can be handy, but you do lose a plot forever. But Royal Council, those are handy. It's a big trade. It is a big trade. You know what? Structure's perfect. What do I want? I want a library. Library! And I want a beacon. I can't afford one now anyway. If I reroll, I won't have enough to get the next one. Although I could portal. Okay, so library. You're going to get all kinds of powerful shit. Portal. And let's just go ahead and gotcha as well. I see, we're almost up to the victory. For now. More procreate! Boom! You hit twice. Yep. Very good. Okay, let's see. Going up against the King of Nature, leading his final assault. Damn, I want to see a King of Jacks. So I have to use all of my things here. We'll do that. Boom! And let's make giant goats. Giant goats! And go back in time. What king? There's no king assault yet. We got 2 more years for that happening. I need to get rid of this, though. Now it's just in the way. I can do another shrine, which doesn't do me any good. Or giant goats! Soon the mountain goats will be a mountain! Must play all of my cards. Oh no. Oops. But you notice it is still getting extra charges. Oh no, they're attacking my goats. And this is why I needed towers, because the goats will not attack these things. The goats would be eventually wiped out by this. So it's why I need towers to do the attacking for me. Which, well, there's some towers doing the attacking for me. And my goats are still not dying. They're too strong. Goat too strong! And victory! Now, you can keep going to 99 if you really wanted to. Did not lose a single goat. They're too strong. You could keep going to 99, which some people consider to be the real end of the game, and it gets challenging up there, especially on king difficulty. Whoo, boy, it gets challenging up there. But that is 9 kings. The one thing I was waiting for was temple, which is a thing that gives a random unit or tower plus 10% stats of a stat at any rate. But that can hit attack speed and move speed, so that's a really nice one to have. It's just a stat. Boom. So yeah, that's 9 kings. I do recommend it. I mean, yeah, it's an auto battler, but with the 9 different kings and the fact that you can mix and match the towers from the different units, you can have a lot of variety in your defenses. And even though it took me a while to figure out tactics for every unit, every king, each king does have a way to win. It's better when you mix them because, oh boy, some of the bullshit combos you can make when you mix them together is absolutely absurd. Like, I had a King of Time with warpers with adrenaline and a library behind it. It did not take long before I was just summoning infinite waves of enemies. Constant infinite waves of enemies. And that's just a library. You throw in a blacksmith, a farm, almost anything else to go with it, and you've got just one unit can be absolutely unstoppable. It's a good game. It's still in early access, so you might want to check that out. Oh, well, next year will be another year. I'm not planning on stopping it yet, even though we're approaching a milestone. Kind of an unfortunate one, given what I've been doing for how long. But yeah, there we go. I gave my list, my opinions, the games that I still never get around to playing because of reasons. And hopefully you guys like this game. You guys can't see it up here, but there is a bug report button right here and a Discord button. Kind of buried by my watermark. Oh? I was gone? I mean, I missed Sunday because I had stuff to do, which ended up not happening. That was my bad. But I'm still here. I'm still streaming. Friday will be more of Summoner on PlayStation 2. Ah, yeah. That sucked. I don't know, it was quite a couple months, but it was some time where I wasn't able to. The move, yeah, that sucked. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. Like I said, I use this channel as an excuse to play the games that I never got around to playing. There are a lot of them. You can see down there, my list down there. There are... It's harder to find it's harder to find games that run. It's harder to find games that I've missed anymore because I've been doing this so long that I've played through a lot of them. Unless I start stretching stuff out, which I will do. As I said last year, more RPGs are going to happen. Hopefully I won't move in the middle of one of them. Again. That did suck that I had to cut East short for that. Bad timing all around on that one. What about GOG? I love GOG. I have many games on GOG. Have they done something bad lately? I recommend GOG. New owner. Uh-oh. That worries me. That worries me. I'll say this again. The only reason why Steam is as good as it is is because because Valve is a private company. They don't trade stocks, so they don't have shareholders that will demand more profit and such. They can afford to be consumer friendly. And the day it's probably going to be when Gabe retires, when Gabe Newman retires, fear for your Steam account. I hate to say it. Oh, okay, that's better at least. That it's not truly a new owner, it's one of the original owners. Okay. Okay, I'm more relaxed hearing that one. I'm much more relaxed hearing that. Because GOG is a great site. They've actually been bringing some games back too. Like, I don't know if Dino Crisis had ever been on PC before, but they've brought it to PC. Dino Crisis and Dino Crisis 2, which fuck yeah, I want to get and play. Haven't done it yet, but I need to. I played those games back on PlayStation. I would love to replay them on PC and see what they're like now. I'd love to see Parasite Eve come back, but I don't think that's going to. So, like, and another thing GOG does, they've put things in there. We will try to continue to get this to work. Yes, that right there. Their Forever Games thing. They put some on the list right as like Blizzard games, right as Blizzard decided to pull them. And they're like, no, we're going to make sure that the ones that people bought still work. And that's important. And I'm so glad they do that too. Because like I said, how many games do we have that just don't freaking work anymore? I wanted to run Summoner on PC. I can't get the PC version working, even with the patches. I really wanted it to. But that's why I'm running the PS2 version emulated. Didn't want that, but because I wanted to kind of compare. But yeah, compare. Hey, here's the game I've played 20 years ago and thus have completely forgotten about. Let's compare it to what? But yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, I'm streaming my... I mean, that's what I played it on originally, was PS2. So just make a copy of the disc. At least PlayStation, you don't have to screw around to make copies of the disc. You just put the disc in the drive and copy it. At least for emulation purposes. You know, you just make an ISO, boom, boom, you're done. You don't have to get some software to try to crack things. It just works. It's wonderful. I love it. Same with PlayStation 1. You know, Sony nailed it with the PlayStation 1 copy protection. They just did. You still, to this day, are just never really going to be able to make... You're never going to be able to make a disc that you can burn and put straight into an unmodified PlayStation 1. This is not going to happen. You can have a third-party tool, like one of the Game Shark things, to help you disc swap, but that's not the same thing, and even then, some discs, Spyro 3, aren't going to work. And yet, emulation, no problem. You can take any PlayStation disc, put it in your PC, make an ISO of it, or cue and bin because of the soundtrack, and play the game that way on emulator. And with emulators, you have higher resolution, you can do better color so you don't have the dithering, it'll actually try to blend the color together. You can fix the wobble so it doesn't do that anymore. Emulation can be awesome. So I love the PlayStation 2 stuff. At any rate, that is it for me today. That is it for me in 2025. I hope you guys have a good new year coming up. I wish all of you a better year than you had this year. Hope that for myself as well. Things are doing all right now. Let's just hope they continue that way. I'm looking forward to continuing this even longer. Like I said, Summoner, I'm gonna keep going that on Friday. We're hitting it. And hopefully it'll be more entertaining than the last one. We'll see how things go. And if you guys do have ideas for games, not, hey, I'm a professional graphics designer. Yeah. Like, I can't afford to pay someone for the stuff, which is why I make the stuff myself, like that logo up there. Whoops. You know, is it good? No. Have I tried to make more of the icons? Yes. Have I managed to make any more icons? No. And even the one, there's only two I have that are actually good. The third one sucks. I'd love to make more of them. I just suck at it, and I don't make any money off this. I lose money on this because I keep buying games to play. Ah, well. I never set out to be rich and famous. I set out to play video games. Take care, Internet. Enjoy the games you play.